Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. And Oshaquie Foster, he found a way to win last night, but boy, they were going to rob him again. Now, I'm going to tell you, those first 3 rounds, I had Oshaquie Foster, losing. There was one, I said maybe it's 2-1. But the first 3 rounds, I saw it. I saw where it could have been 3-0. But what I'm going to tell you is this. For fighters, I don't have the largest channel, okay? But we talk about some good shit on this channel. And I am just telling you, for these fighters out here, someone's got to get a hold of them, shake them real hard, and say, look, these judges, they want to see you letting your hands go. Because Oshaquie Foster lost that first fight because he wasn't letting his hands go nowhere near Conceição. Now, Oshaquie Foster was landing more punches, but this is the problem. I keep saying this. If you throw 30 punches and you land 15, no, let's say you land 20 out of 30, and the other guy throws 70 punches and he lands 10, that can make it look, give the perception that he's outworking you and that he's winning the rounds, when in actuality, nothing's landing. Now, watching that whole fight last night, the rematch, that's exactly what was happening in the first 3 rounds. In the 4th round, things started to change a bit, but still, Conceição was letting his hands go. But he wasn't even hitting anything. I'm just being honest with you. Conceição was just throwing shit to the wind. He would, something would get through here and there, but for the most part, he was just letting his hands go. Whether he was accurate or not, he didn't care. I don't know, it was like almost amateurish. But the bottom line is, when you got a guy like that, he's just coming in with reckless abandonment. There's some shit that can get through. And he has long arms. He throws wide looping punches. You really can't come in there with a textbook defense to really, defend against that guy. You got to fight with your eyes, which is what Oshaquie Foster did. So he was able to see a lot of the shots coming. And he knew a lot of them were looping. They were going to go kind of around of his head, kind of clip the back of his head. But they weren't going to land clean on his chin. But anyway, he got to the finish line. They still tried to rob him. I saw this. One of the judges gave Conceição 115, 113 scorecard. But Foster won. But this is my thing going forward with Oshaquie Foster. Now remember, I like Oshaquie Foster. I remember when I saw him fight Vargas. I said, Jesus Christ, Oshaquie Foster was in there looking like Mayweather. The way he was boxing and moving and catching shots and countering. I mean, he looked amazing. But I'm going to tell you what. Oshaquie Foster, Ray Ford, Oshaquie Foster fighting Shakur Stevenson, Oshaquie Foster fighting Gervonta Davis. I don't know how he does in those fights. He's got some power, obviously, right? But he's gonna have to sit on his shots a little more, man. You saw he hurt Conceição with a couple shots, and Conceição's body didn't really like it. It reacted funny. But trying to envision Oshaquie Foster in the ring with Gervonta Davis, I just think Gervonta Davis will have Oshaquie Foster uncomfortable, be a little bit intimidated, and Gervonta Davis will just basically have his way and walk him down and, wait to let go of the big shots. And I think what's going to happen in that fight is Oshaquie Foster will be going from orthodox to southpaw, which is something I saw him doing last night. And I just don't think with a guy like Tank, you can afford to do that bullshit. Tank sees everything that his opponents are doing. He's watching their feet. He's watching the waist. He's watching their arms. He's watching their head movement. He's watching their body language. And Tank picks up on everything that you're doing. And his timing is impeccable, and he's explosive. I can see Oshaquie Foster looking to switch stances, and in between switching stances, get clipped. I can see that happening. And if he gets hit by Gervonta Davis, if anyone gets hit by Gervonta Davis, they're probably gonna start dancing salsa in the ring and shit. Okay, so it is what it is. But even thinking about Oshaquie Foster and Shakur Stevenson gets a lot of flack, and I can understand because he's a boxer runner, but he can box. And there are some people who are saying Shakur has very deceiving power. They say Shakur's got some pop. But again, he's another one who doesn't really sit on his punches. We did see Shakur Stevenson try to prove a point in his last fight to kind of sit on his punches. And it didn't really go the way I think he was hoping it would go because he still wasn't able to do the damage that fans would like to see him do. But I still think he would be able to disrupt anything Oshaquie Foster brings to the fight and get a big win. I mean, for Shakur Stevens to get a big win over Oshaquie Foster. But right now, 130 is wide open. I'd like to see what Oshaquie Foster is going to do next. He's regained his WBC strap. Surely there'll be some mandatory that he's got to entertain. But for him, he's got to work on throwing another 10, 15 punches around. Now, that's just my opinion. All these fighters out here who are thinking just because they're boxing brilliantly and they're landing more shots than their opponent who's throwing a bunch of shots and missing, or you're catching the shots, that shit don't work no more. I'm going to tell you what's another good example of what recently happened is that Bertabia Bivol. Bivol looked fantastic, man. But there were some stretches where he just didn't let his hands go. And Bertabia was always tap, tap, tapping. And I've said this in several videos. When Bertabia was tap, tap, tapping, Bivol was nap, nap, napping. And ultimately that caused Bivol to fight. I think coming up here with Tyson Fury and Usyk, I think we're going to see Tyson Fury up his output, and Usyk, his output may diminish a bit because Tyson Fury is going to fight smart, and he's going to box and stay long and look to smother as well. I think you're going to see Usyk reducing his output because Tyson Fury is boxing, and Usyk's going to be looking to slip him, time him, and then get his shots off. But as a result, I can see Tyson Fury outworking him or outthrowing him from the first round to the last round. There may be a couple of rounds where Usyk has some moments, but I can see Tyson Fury, outworking him and throwing more punches than him. And ultimately, at some point, hitting him with the goddamn Gypsy King Bing Bings and finishing Usyk. But even if he doesn't, if that fight goes the distance and Tyson Fury has outworked him, meaning he's throwing more punches than Usyk across majority of the rounds, I am telling you, Tyson Fury is going to get the win. Unless Usyk knocks him down or does something, something earth-shattering and shit. Other than that, he's going to lose that fight. Anyway, let's see if these fighters are going to start focusing more on trying to add another 10 punches per round. Because I just think, although with doing that, you assume some risk, but I think it's necessary. Keyshawn Davis has a fight coming up. I want to see what he does. Jaron Ennis has a fight coming up. They're gonna have to let their hands go, and Jaron definitely gonna have to let his hands go and try to catch up to Chikadzian. But I have a feeling Chikadzian may hold his ground and say, "Okay, y'all think I'm gonna box? I'm gonna be the one to outwork you and let my hands go this fight." But nonetheless, the judges, their criterion, it is what it is. But they seem to have a preference which is the guy who throws more punches. If they're kind of unsure on who won a round, that can sway the judges, man. Remember De La Hoya when he fought, was it Felix Trinidad he was fighting? He would just come on with a bunch of flurries. 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I think Sugar Ray Leonard had a fight where they were like, 15 seconds or whatever. He would just start shoe shining and outworking the opponent. And sometimes, man, that shit gives it forces the judge to make a decision. And more times than not, the last thing they remember is the most recent thing. And if it's you throwing a bunch of punches at the end of a round, that could sway the judges. And I think that's what these fighters need to keep in mind. All right. Y'all keep cool. Oshaquie Foster won. on to the next. But I really think you got to be careful with just coming in there trying to be perfect. That's not going to get the job done. In the breeze.